Hi, Jan Shimano here. Thanks for coming by. Today I'm talking about how do you know whether your headache is a migraine or not. And it's the very rare person that's never had a headache. But there are various forms of headaches, and the most painful and difficult to handle is a migraine headache. So you would want to know whether the kinds of headaches you are having are actually migraines or not. And they're classified as throbbing headaches, and you usually experience them on just one side of your head or the other. And some people experience nausea and even to the extent of vomiting when they have these headaches. And other people are very sensitive to light and to sound, and the pain becomes worse with activity. Some of these migraine sufferers, they experience sensory disturbances that are called auras. And that usually happens just prior to the beginning of the headache, about 10 to 30 minutes before the headache actually begins. And what this aura is, the experience that you have, is that you see brightly colored blinking lines, flashes of light, colored dots, black dots, just going through your vision. I know when I have them, it just seems to go from the left to the right, and just seems to flash over my vision like that. And actually what can happen also is that you just don't seem to be able to see an entire object. A portion of the object seems to be blacked out. I know if I'm looking at a book, then I can't seem to read it properly because some of the words are kind of blocked out. So that's what happens in that type of a migraine that's called a classical migraine. And 10 to 15% of people get that type of a migraine. Now the other 85 to 90% of the people, they get what's called a common migraine. And you still can have some warning signs with the common migraine. They're quite different though. You could experience a hot sensation in the head, a feeling of heaviness, and a tightening sensation in the scalp. Now these particular symptoms, they can happen a few hours up to an entire day before you actually get the headache. And what I recommend that you do is you learn to read your own body's warnings and symptoms. And what I recommend is that you keep a little symptom diary, and over a period of time, then when you look back, you can see, if these symptoms developed into the migraine, you record the migraine itself, how long it lasted, and then when you look back, you can see if there's a pattern. Is it every month that you're getting it, or twice a month, or once every 3 months, or whatever the case may be? See if you can determine a pattern to your migraine, and that might help you understand what's triggering it. Now a migraine can last a very long time. Unfortunately, it can last anywhere from 4 to 72 hours. That's a full 3 days. So that's a long time to be suffering with this severe kind of headache. It starts with a dull aching pain, and then it develops into a throbbing pain, and that pain can fluctuate. And it can get worse if you're moving or if you're bending over. Any sudden movement can make the pain worse. Other changes in the body also happen, as well as what I mentioned with the nausea and vomiting. They can include diarrhea, increased urination, and loss of appetite. When the headache is at its very worst, you can feel very, very chilled. Your hands and feet can feel ice cold, and you just can't seem to get warm. And like prior to the migraine, as I mentioned, your head could feel very hot. So you've got these disturbances going on in your body temperature. And so what they have determined is that what is at fault here is the function of your hypothalamus. And that is your body's thermostat, and your hypothalamus is not working correctly. And it seems to be specifically involved in the migraine. People quite often get migraines after a period of intense stress has actually ended. They're not getting the migraine during that stressful period. So it could be that they get the migraine when they come back from their vacation, or when the weekend is over, or perhaps they've been working hard to meet a deadline. Once they've met the deadline and the stress is off them, quite often this is the time that they actually get the migraine. And many people report that they can feel, once their migraine is over, they can feel drained and exhausted for a few days. The experts are still not exactly sure of all of the things that are happening in a person's body when they have the migraine and when it's all over. So my recommendation is, after listening to some of these symptoms, if you believe that you are suffering from migraine headaches, then I recommend that you make an appointment with your healthcare provider, because over-the-counter medication is not, I won't say it's not strong enough, it's just not the right kind of medication to really provide any benefit to the treatment of migraine. So get yourself to the doctor, get the proper medication, and then hopefully your migraines can be alleviated. Thanks for coming by. Until the next time, this is Jan saying goodbye.